Coming up on Out and About Art, I'm going to give you a look inside the Winter Haven Art Walk, Polk Museum of Art's latest exhibit, the Eloise Art Center's Summer Art Camp, and some of the art from the Viva Polk Fest. It's all coming up in a few, so stay tuned. Main Street Winter Haven recently hosted its latest art walk in the downtown area, giving local artists a chance to set up mini art galleries and local businesses. As a fun and fresh way for the community to come out and see art right in their hometown, it gave an opportunity to experience different types of art and maybe even buy some for your own home. Housing a number of different types of artists, from sculptors to painters and even wood burners, there was something here to see for everyone. Check it out.
Was created by a group called the Business Partner Group. So we meet about 3 or 4 times a year, and we come up with monthly events for downtown. One of our members mentioned, how about an art walk? And so we started thinking about it, and it sounded like a great idea. We didn't have a spot for art downtown, and it was something that we really wanted to attract more of into our downtown. Came up with a formula that the downtown businesses would make a little space inside their business for an artist to come in, serve refreshments. The Main Street program would create a map, and we would promote it so that people could come downtown, and it was like a pop-up art gallery for the night.
Sculpting is my passion, believe it or not. And I decided to go to Florida State, where I became a sculpting student. And then after that, I studied at UCF, and I studied sculpting and painting and drawing there. And then I got out of it. I showed my work at the Orlando Museum of Art, and I did some other clubs downtown, and I became very insecure, which is very unusual for me, and but it's a dog-eat-dog world when it comes to art, and people are very critical, and I wasn't, as a young 20-year-old, ready for that side, so I just got scared and I dropped out. Had my daughter in my 30s, and when she was about 3, I thought, how can I tell her to go after her passions when I haven't ever gone after mine? I was at home, and I just grabbed a canvas, and we had a 4-bedroom house. I turned it into a studio, and I couldn't afford a kiln, but I could afford canvases, and so I started painting. I just slowly started looking at things online and learning how to do it, and now I love painting. I love it. As I've gotten into it, I'm almost 40, I'll be 40 this year, it's the younger kids that I find that I really bring in, because it's like tonight, there were some young 20-year-olds with the piercings and the tattoos, and how did you start? How did you start? I'm having struggles, and it reminds me of when I was their age, and I was so insecure, and I fell apart. And instead of having somebody boast me up and push me towards that, I don't know. I reach out to the young artist, and I say, keep going, keep going. Somebody's gonna love your stuff.
I've been painting for about 30 years. Gosh, I don't even remember what drew me to abstract art, but I just love to do it. It's fun to play with the colors and to create just different layering. and textures and colors, and it's just the feel that the colors give me. You know, it's not having rules and lines and something for someone to compare it to when it's finished, which is great for me.
The type of work that I do is called pyography. It is the art of wood burning. February 1st of last year, I broke my foot, and it was actually pretty severe to where I was bedridden for 6 months. So I had a lot of time on my hand, and that's where my time went. Because the wood burning, each piece will take anywhere from 4 to about 12 hours, and that was a great way to ease my frustrations, and it was great therapy. It's a huge sense of release, but it also depends on what type of piece I'm doing. A lot of the pieces that I do are in memory, people who have passed. So those I tend to take a lot more personal than if I was just doing something based out of my interest, which is more of a happy type vibe.
I do acrylics, photography, printing, glass painting, glass art, sculpting. Well, I've been doing art since I was a child. I went to school, majored in art in the high school, and then I went to Rollins and I took art classes there. Oh, I go into La La Land when I'm doing art. I'll lose space and time, and it's very like meditating to me.
Oh my gosh, art is amazing. It makes everybody feel better. So it's something that everybody can do, even though they often say they can't. They can. They just have to try a little bit. And it's a process. You can learn the process and enjoy learning the process at the same time. It opens so many doors for conversation. You start to see things differently. You notice things in the background on television shows.
We drive past beautiful landscapes all the time in Polk County, and most people probably don't even notice. You notice the sunset maybe, but you don't notice the beauty that goes on in a pasture, or how nice trees are, and I think it helps in that way.
There's art to be found everywhere. By doing maybe a quarterly pop-up art gallery, maybe one day we'll have a nice art gallery downtown.
I've been in this space since last June, and we've participated every time there's been an art walk. It brings people into our spaces, and it lets people get a feel, for me, of what a real art studio is like, and also it gives us a chance to share what we do and what we want to do.
I love it. Just being able to have people interact with me as I'm painting has been really fun.
It's a great way to, engage local artists and let the community know the kind of talent that we have here.
The Winter Haven Art Walk is an event that Main Street Winter Haven hopes to continue in the future. For more information on events just like this one, you can find them on Facebook. Now, the Winter Haven Art Walk serves as a pop-up art gallery, but the Polk Museum of Art is always a great resource to see art in a more permanent setting. Its most recent exhibit highlighted art by African Americans from the 1950s to present time. Tying in with its permanent exhibit called Presence and featuring videos, photography, sculptures, and paintings, it served as an educational experience for visitors to see an evolution of art in another culture. The exhibit has since closed, but if you missed it, you're in luck because I got to get in on it before they made its departure.
This is an exhibition organized and on loan from the Driscoll Center at the University of Maryland. And the Driscoll Center was founded in 2001 by David C. Driscoll, who is cited as one of the world's most renowned educators and scholars of African American culture and art. The University of Maryland offered this exhibition on tour. We are one of only, I believe, 4 or 5 venues in the country to host this exhibition. And after it leaves here, it goes back to the University of Maryland. So we're really the last stop on the tour. This exhibition is really a sequel to a groundbreaking exhibition that Professor Driscoll curated in 1976 called 2 Centuries of Black Art, 1750 to 1950. And it was a general survey of how African American art had changed in those 2 centuries, and this is African American art since 1950. So this is a follow-up talking about how modern African American art has continued to change into the 20th century and even into the 21st century. When you're looking at artwork that can capture the sense of cultural identity or the evolution of that cultural identity, then it's important to have a wide range of media to capture really every pocket of that culture that you can. We have 63 pieces of art in this exhibition by 54 artists. The material and media is very diverse. We have everything from prints and paintings to sculpture to video. So it's really a wide-ranging survey of the contemporary state of African American art. The reactions we have gotten have been so overwhelmingly positive, not only from the local African American community, but from all the communities that we serve here in Polk County. And I think that's important because it testifies to how little we actually know about other cultures. Even though, we're in this day and age, we're fairly educated in terms of demographics, population diversity, or at least we think we are because of all the media that we have around us. But there are still those aspects of the culture that unless you are an active participant or you have inherited a part of that culture, you really just aren't in tune with. And so all of these works of art have their own very profound message about the African American culture. And whether you're white, whether you're black, whether you're Latino, you're going to come in and you're going to relate to something on a personal level, but you're also going to learn something on a much broader level about the progress of African American culture into the 20th and 21st century. The exhibition that we titled Presence is a permanent collection exhibition. And so those are pieces by African American artists that we have in the museum's permanent collection. In presence, we have a few pieces from our African collection. We have a very small collection of African art. We have a couple of headdresses, and we also have a grain basket that's in that exhibition. And that's really just there to offer a contrast between a more traditional tribal African aesthetic and then the more modern African American aesthetic. I think even though this is an exhibition of African American art, I think it really transcends that label. I think that when you come into this exhibition and you read the information provided with each piece, whether it be about the piece itself or about the artist's intent with that piece, I think you're going to notice that there is a very strong humanistic element to that. That you don't have to be African American, you don't have to know a lot about African American history and culture. You're going to really associate and relate with a lot of these pieces and what they're saying based on a more broad humanistic level. Some of the best art helps to evolve, helps to shape culture, whether it be present culture or future culture. And we have art all around us, and Polk County is a culturally rich area to be in. Whether we're talking about visual art, whether we're talking about performance, music, we have so many things that we can offer that you can start building your own perception of contemporary culture. I think we have a really strong regional culture that's very unique to our own. And just going out, connecting with that, participating in it, learning about it, I think is really important to better build a well-rounded experience of where you live.
The Polk Museum of Art has opened 2 new exhibits and will open another one in October. With its recent decision to allow free admission through the end of the year, it's always good for a fun and educational day out. Also in Lakeland, the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce of Polk County hosted its 3rd annual Viva Polk Fest in an effort to showcase the diversity of the Hispanic culture in Polk County. It's certainly shown a light on their culture with a variety of food and art vendors, as well as a Battle of the Bands event on stage where they brought high school students together to battle for the win. I was out at the event to check out what the art vendors brought along. Check out this short montage highlighting the pieces on display. The Hispanic Chamber of Commerce will continue to shed light on the Hispanic culture in Polk County with events like Miss Latina Polk later this year. As a child or a teenager, it's so important to stay active once school lets out for the summer. It's even better when you can do it in an environment that's fun and allows you to make new friends. And the Arts Ensemble Education Foundation is doing just that with its summer art camp at the Eloise Art Center. The camp kicked off just a few weeks ago and the kids are absolutely loving it. Let's take a look and see what they're up to.
This is our third summer of doing art camp. Every year we grow. This year we literally grew exponentially in numbers. We had over 80 children register. Unfortunately, that's too many for what we can do in the number of staff that we have currently. We definitely work within a budget that's pretty stringent. So right now we have 65 children that are registered and are on campus today. You know, summer camp here, obviously art is our primary goal, getting creative minds and creative hands doing creative things and keeping them off the street. That's pretty much the entire goal. But at the end of the day, the goal is to have significantly impacted somebody's life through the use of creative materials. EVAC began as a visual arts and a life skills program for teenagers. And as we were developing literally in the concept of how we were going to implement this first program, we realized that there was a significant need for family programming as well as teen programming in this community. And you know, truthfully, throughout Polk County, we need as much arts programming as we can possibly get. So, you know, we were really center focused on the teens of our community, and the community stepped forward and started saying things like, well, my 7-year-old wants to take guitar, or you know, I have a 9-year-old that loves ceramics, and we quickly found out that it would not be enough just to offer teen programming. You know, the Board of County Commission is just one of our greatest partners in everything that we do, and we were talking with Parks and Recreation and found out that the building that we are in today for, I call it the Littles Camp, was available, and I thought, you know, man, this would really work. And so we struck up a deal with Parks and Rec and we opened. And so it literally put our teen programming on hold for almost 18 months while we brought everything else online. Opened a garden, you know, opened a library, began to bring in things like not only visual arts, which was primarily where we were going with teenagers, but then we started incorporating performing arts and music classes, digital arts, things that were just completely, you know, as broad as it could be. And the idea was asking the community what they wanted. And that's what this art center does exceptionally well, is provide this community with what they're looking for in the arts.
This is my first summer camp here. I just moved here from Maryland, but I've been working with the Eloise Art since October when I moved down here. It's very exciting to see all the different things that they come up with. And I try not to show too many examples because sometimes then you can't get past it and use your own creativity. And they're learning to do their own thing.
Our staff is completely comprised of artists and retired school teachers who have a passion for children and teaching them. We have a couple of teenagers that are just beautiful and brilliant, and they don't give themselves credit for being artists. I think that's the greatest thing about teenagers. Either they're over the top, the best thing ever in what they do, or, oh, I can't do that, Miss Jane, I'm not a good artist, and what they've just produced is the next piece that could be hung at the museum. Is just amazing work.
This year's like really the first year I actually did volunteer, and this is my second week. In middle school, I took art, but I never really took art like seriously until high school. I don't take it as a class, but at home I practice. I help the kids a lot. We were making bowls out of clay, air dry clay, and they're just working on molding it and forming it with their thumbs.
Angelo Sorsay, just a brilliant kid, and he never gives himself credit for the artist that he is, but he's quite brilliant. And he volunteers his time here when he's not working or not helping his family in the community. And I literally have to make him stop working so that he can go and do art.
Last summer was the first time really getting involved with the art camp. When I first moved to Eloise, I was walking home because I got dropped off the bus from school. And I was walking down the road and a car pulled up. It was my friend now, Tristan. And we started talking, you know, hanging out, and he's like, you should come up with me to the resource center. And I did ask him about it. I was like, oh, what's that center up the road? He was telling me he volunteered there and stuff. And so I came up there with him one day. It was me, him, and my sister. And ever since then, I just started volunteering, helping out with him. You know, it really does help because I wasn't involved at all, you know, before I came to the center.
It's not only art that we do here, we do a lot of life skills programming. This summer, for instance, we are really focused on the Stephen Covey 7 Habits tree, and it's a really great 7-step approach to creating happy kids. That's kind of the idea, is make them happy and do great things with them. And Angelo is a great product of that Make a Happy Kid and See What Happens. You know, from an education standpoint, just from the place of what are we actually instructing, I hope that they're taking with them some fun art lessons that inspire them to go on to be the next thing they want to be. From the place of just being community and being an educator, I want them to leave with life skills. I want them to leave with the knowledge that they can do all things, that they have the power to be what they want to be if they really, really go for it.
It helps them gain creativity and to experience new things, especially when you're young.
The younger the better to get involved with the arts. You know, we know through a great deal of research that the arts, once engaged in a young life, creates the next problem solver. It's a critical thinking measure, really.
And I think it's good we can provide this for them because, you know, in the future they're going to remember this. And, you know, they might take this when they're in the future. They're going to look in their past and maybe realize they want to do art for the rest of their life and stuff.
The camp is still in session until July 31st. For more information, visit artsensemblehealingart.com or call them at 863-293-2700. That's all I have for this month, but be sure to tune in next month when I take you backstage in the local community theater scene as Theater Winter Haven presents Shrek the Musical. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time. Out and about.